Hello everybody on the internet watching, and welcome to another Week 3 game here in Season 3 of the Totally Normal Football League. We're here in an unseasonably warm day in Kingston as the Kingston Gators welcome division rivals, the Hamilton Rollers, to a game of American football. So the Gators, the home team, have won the opening coin flip and have chosen to defer opening possession, so it'll be Booker Trayton Jr. out on the field for the first possession of the game. And this is a bit of a revenge game for the Gators. They have lost the last two games against the Rollers, the last of which was a playoff game as number 44 whips his way up the middle of the field, but tackled down by Biff Plunger at the 25. The last time the Rollers beat the Gators, it was the playoff game in Season 2. And the Rollers went on to have a legendary game against the Beefers at Norma Bowl. However, the Rollers are 0-2 right now, and they are desperate for a divisional win today. It's a handoff to Walter Kiteflyer, and he's tackled from behind by Aston Often for a 5-yard gain. And that man right there, Walter Kiteflyer, number 29, is going to be public enemy number 1 for the Kingston Gators. The Rollers coming in with a run-heavy package here in today's game, and they're going to be handing it off to former linebacker Walter Kiteflyer. However, not this play as Booker Trayton Jr. is back. What a catch by, oh my god, that was Callie Swim Lanes in a very tight coverage. That was a throw out of a sack as Mark Maskinson was able to get to Booker Trayton Jr. The throw out of the sack looked like it was going to be an easy interception for one of the linebackers manning their zones in the middle of the field, but somehow Kelly Swim Lanes coming across the field in an in route gets the reception. What an incredible job there from the tight end. Counter run for Walter Kiteflyer. He's got no one in front of him, and Dan Danson has to bring him down. An 8-yard run for Kiteflyer. We'll bring up a 2nd and inches as the referee spotted as a 9-yard run. Slick Wiglet, the fullback, out along with Kiteflyer. Kelly Swim Lanes in motion. It's going to be a quick handoff, and Kiteflyer's right up the middle. The blocking from the Rollers is excellent today. And that is bad news for the Gators. They're going to have a long day ahead of them if they can't stop this run early. Trips bunch for the Rollers. Garrett Rinser, the lone back, on another counter run. I see a lot of pancaked players. But Draco Sanchez, the rookie, tackles down Garrett Rinser at the 35. Last where I was on the field there with this awful camera, so a run of 3. Garrett Rinser now filling in for Walter Kiteflyer. Swim Lanes once again on the move. Gators not really switching their coverage. Play action, and Booker tries to throw it to Khalid Swim Lanes on a corner route, but it's tipped away by Dan Danson. That's going to bring up a 3rd down as this Kingston crowd cheers on. That was an amazing play action. The pass rush fell for it, and Booker had all the time in the world to look for somebody open. And he's trying to look for someone. Nobody go! Tipped away from Draco Sanchez. An amazing blitz there from that looked like, judging from where it was on the field, that might have been an Aston Often blitz. Either that or it was Marshall Rockenstone. It was hard to see the number in the action, but it'll be a 52-yard field goal attempt from old reliable Kyle Borger, and he misses this one. No good. He kicks it left. That's crazy. I don't think Kyle Borger missed a single field goal in Season 2, and now he's missed 2 of them. This one was probably the most gimme. There is pretty strong winds today, perhaps. And it's a quick out route to Overnight, who fumbles the ball, but he recovers it. Oh my god, that's insane. So the Rollers, I don't know if that was one of the safeties, but Overnight, a hard tackle from Carter A. Menbrake, who's going to be guarding Andy Overnight all day. He got a forced fumble, but unfortunately there was a scrim from a Hamilton roller. They weren't able to get their hands on the oblong, and they bounced it directly into Andy Overnight again. What a huge break for the Gators. They'll get 8 yards on that. Outside pitch to Oscar Dudeman, but they'll get no yardage on that as they are hunted down by Reno Pearson. That'll be a 3rd and short for the Gators. Gators at their own 49-yard line here at midfield, and they've brought out the big boys here for this, but Howard is throwing it, pump fake, and he takes too long as he's brought down by number 92, Owen Cantwell. Howard not liking the corner route he had scripted for that play, and that's going to be a punt from the Gators. Yeah, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of tackle numbers here from Reno Pearson, the middle linebacker for the Rollers this game. He's going to be on Oscar Dudeman quite a bit, and if he can stop him for no gain like that consistently, I think the Gators will have to throw it sooner rather than later. Touchback punted by Riley 9-mil, and the Rollers will start their second possession of the game from the 20. They shanked a field goal on their last drive. Let's see if they can end this one in some points. Kite Flyer in as the running back along with fullback Slick Quiglet. They'll go it right up the middle. Mark Maskinson brings them down after a 4-yard run. Yard 1, Kite Flyer still in. No fullback this time. It's going to be a draw play, but Kite Flyer gets brought down once again by... not once again, that's number 95. Yeah, that is Mark Maskinson. And they bring up a 3rd down. So Booker Trayton Jr. will likely throw it, and they're coming out in the trips bunk formation. Kite Flyer in the backfield. No tight end for this play. Trayton Jr., lots of time in the pocket, throws it to the corner route, and big Miles Gundar catches it at the 45. And you want to talk about mismatches, man, like Gordy Strump looked like he was a child next to big Miles Gundark, who's like 400 pounds and 6'6". Good gosh. So that's a 3rd down conversion for the Rollers. They are at their own 44-yard line. Booker, draw play to Walter Kite Flyer. Brought down by Eddie Chumbo. Four-yard gain on the run. Booker Trayton Jr., 2 tight ends, and Garrett Rinser behind him. Garrett Rinser, it's a counter run, but it's chased down by Marshall Rockenstone. Marshall Rockenstone was a janitor in Season 1. He was a Hellcat in Season 2 when the Gators were able to pick him up in the offseason for Season 3, and he's definitely been an asset to the pass rush. Oh, here's a classic big beefy. Oh, Garrett Rinser is stopped for a loss as Ted McMahon just jumps the gun there. An incredible run defense there from the Gators. And as we end the first quarter here scoreless, the Gators have really improved their run-stopping game. As they now have Edward Fongo out to punt on a 4th and 5. Dalton Mini Small out back to return, but it looks like this is going sailing even into the end zone. And that's going to go for a touchback, so our 4th possession of the game is going to go to the Gators. Scoreless here in this division rivalry matchup. Of course, the Rollers 0-2 so far this season. They can't afford to go down early in the season in terms of the win-loss. This is a 10-week season. Outside pitch to Oscar Dudeman, but no blocks is going to get him stopped for a big loss as Landon Chuffpuff shoves him over. And yeah, we're really seeing these problems with especially the outside run games from the Gators. Their pulled guards and just their wide receivers are just not getting the blocks required to make any good yardage. And just you look at last Tuesday when the Stoats played, as Oscar Dudman just tries to run through the brick wall that is Brandon Legstrong. You look at the Stoats last Tuesday and how well they were able to absolutely pancake everybody in their running game. Really makes you think what the Gators have to do to adjust as they're on a 3rd and long now at their own 15-yard line. Aston Sullivan, the lone back in this 4 wide receiver set. Howard back to throw. Throws it up for Dalton Mini-Small, but it's thrown out of bounds, and that's going to be no good. The Gators having hard time establishing the run this game, have to punt it away. Sid Manderjunk waving for the fair catch. The Rollers are going to start almost at midfield at their own 43-yard line, so a short field in front of them. We'll see if Booker Trayton Jr. decides to utilize a bit more play action and just straight up passes here, but with Squiglet and Kite Flyer in the backfield, I think we're going to see them continue to pound it into the Gators line. It's going to be a fullback run, and well spotted there by Eddie Chumbo, stopping that for nearly no gain. The refs will call it a 1-yard gain. The Rollers now at their 44. And Booker's back to pass. Maskinson gets to him. It's a big sack. Maskinson making I've been saying his name about like once every 3 plays. He's been bowling through the middle of the offensive line of the Rollers so far this game. And that's the first time he was able to get to Booker and really bring him down. And that'll be a big 5-yard sack as Trayton Jr. in the shotgun for this play. A 4 wide receiver set, and Hamilton will have a false start penalty assessed against them. They'll move them back even further. It's now 3rd and forever as they've moved back all the way to their 34-yard line. August Half-Price on the move. Going back to throw. Throws it behind the sticks, and Draco Sanchez tips the low pass away from Iggy Freestag. But that pass was well behind the sticks anyway, so that was not going to convert had it been a completion. And now Edward Fongo is punting from way further back from where the drive started. We have a dead heat here so far in Kingston. Dalton Mini-Small catching the ball at the 10-yard line, and he'll return it past the 25 before he catches a word from Denny Buglas. So the big story for the Gators right now, they cannot establish the run. The defensive tackles, and especially Reno Pearson, have been a thorn in Oscar Dudman's side. And we see here now a 4 wide receiver set. Or 3 wide receiver set, sorry. And they'll give it to Dudeman up the middle, and that's one of the best runs we've seen from the Gators, which should tell you a lot by how this game is going. That was about a 5 to 6 yarder up the middle. It'll be 5 yards to the Gators' 32-yard line. And they got the H formation up, and they'll hand it to Dudeman as well. He'll go up the middle. He'll shake off a tackle, but get to the 40-yard line. And Jordan Slinerty, who Oscar Dudeman shouldered out of the way, appears to have injured his elbow. Jordan Slinerty, I think he's a rookie this season. He's currently the free safety for the Rollers. Oops, bunch, the Rollers stacking up the tackle box, and all that doesn't concern Ollie Jawova, who shoves over Jacob way over on his way for a 4-yard gain. We've seen so many teams bit by the injury bug, and that's starting to make general managers make quite... Okay, so Jordan Slinerty just bruised up his elbow, but is a minor injury, and he will return shortly, so that's good news for the Rollers. But we've seen so many teams get bitten by the injury bug, and that's what led to the Shitbirds releasing... Nathan Pope, big run for Ollie Jawova past the 50 into enemy territory over the Rollers' 45. It's interesting we're seeing Kelly Olijuwova have a bit more success than Oscar Dudeman. Graham Howard. Twin tight end formation. He'll hand it to Olijuwova. He'll only get about 3 yards on this play. But he did find a nice little cutback lane for himself before being converged on. And there are very few people who can deliver a better stiff arm than Kelly Olijuwova for the Gators. Will be a 4-yard run. The Gators at the 43 of the Rollers. 30 seconds away from the 2-minute warning. Dudeman, pardons me, his way to the Rollers' 40-yard line. And that'll bring up a 3rd and somewhat close. And I think that average tells you a lot. Dudeman's average being 1.4 yards. The Rollers did their homework and they came prepared to stop the running game of the Gators. Meanwhile, Kite Flyer has been having some big success, and Dudeman runs it up the middle, and he'll get a first down past the 35 as we hit the 2-minute warning. That was a risky running play, honestly, considering how well the Rollers have been clamping down on it. The Gators stuck to their guts. Howard in the shotgun. 4 wide receiver sets with Dudeman beside Howard, looking to throw. He's got a good corner route to Mini Small, and he's caught it, but he's out of bounds. He can't quite tap his toes. About a yard or so out of bounds. It was a bit of an issue for Graham Howard lately, is overthrowing balls, especially those corner routes and deep to the back of the end zone. As they hand it to Oscar Dudeman, picks up a great block from, that was a good 15-yarder, that Jamad Gilbert block, really opening things up. Quickly scrambling, no huddle, Graham Howard under no pressure, what a throw to Harold Van Panel, the corner route gets through the traffic, touchdown Gators, and we have our first score of the game with Graham Howard throwing it to the tight end. And look at this, jumping for it was Bud Beaglesworth. But he can't quite get his hands on it, and the former janitor turned Gators tight end to put 6 on the board. Andre Fourscore kicks it through the uprights. And it's 7-0 here in Kingston. Most of that done on the ground thanks to the help of Oscar Dudeman and Kelly Olijuwova. With Graham Howard finding the end zone with tight end Harold Van Panel. So the Gators have adapted to this Rollers defense. We'll see if the Rollers offense can adapt to the Kingston defense. They have been clamping down on the run the past couple of plays themselves. We'll see if Trayton Jr. here as Sid Manderjunk gets it to the 25. We'll see if Booker Trayton Jr. can lob some deep passes past this Kingston secondary to try and tie up the game here with 1 minute and 36 seconds remaining in the first half. Trayton Jr. starting this in the shotgun. Not a lot of pressure at all. Throws it to the side. Gets Miles Gundark for a nice 9-yard completion with Miles Gundark stepping out of bounds to stop the clock. Yeah, Robert Stevens giving Gundark quite a lot of space. They'll be the Rollers will be 1.5 yards away from getting the first down, but Trayton Jr. still standing in the shotgun, looking for lots of yards here. Flood play, it looks like, for the Rollers. They'll get it to the corner route, and Pyloni gets it to almost to the 40-yard line of the Gators. The lineup in the I formation with Gundark as fullback. Corner route defended by Biff Plunger. They tried to get it to Pyloni a second time. Pyloni almost had separation on that out route, but Biff Plunger putting his hands in, gets the deflection. That'll be a 2nd and 10 with 1 minute and 14 seconds remaining. Creighton Jr. back to throw. Oh, what a vicious hit! Oh my God. Who was that? Was that Half Price getting his shit carved in by freaking Draco Sanchez? Holy shit, I think I heard the Half-Life 2 body smack sound effect with that. That was a hard hit. A minute and 11 seconds left on the clock. A 3rd and 10. Booker. Gators only send 3. Mark Maskinson gets in the way, and Maskinson's pressure makes Booker Trayton Jr. throw an interception to Slip Creaky, and it's Gators ball. The Gators only sent 3, but all you need is big Mark Maskinson, who's gone really above and beyond this first quarter for the Gators. And Graham Howard once again in the shotgun. 4 wide receiver set, throws a quick one, gets it to Pete Moss at the 50. As the Gators call a timeout with a minute remaining on the clock, they're going to be looking to put the Rollers down 2 scores here. If they're able to make a bit more yardage. The Rollers still have all 3 of their timeouts, so they are going to be liberally using these to hopefully squeeze out another possession before the half ends. Another 3 wide receiver set with a full back. Howard looking for someone open. He just takes too long. Brandon Legstrong bringing him down. I saw somebody streaking across the field wide open, but Howard didn't like what he saw evidently and kept holding on to it for a better opportunity, and can't wait forever for a pass in this league. That's going to be a 5-yard sack for Legstrong. 2nd and 15. Gators stepping back to throw. The Rollers have pressure, and they've got none other than Dalton Mini Small, or that's Lloyd Marshall wide open, and that's going to be a 53-yard reception and touchdown. Graham Howard's 2nd one of the game. Look at that, absolutely blowing Jordan Slanerty out of the water, who's back from a minor elbow injury. And just like that, the Gators put another 6 on the board, and they are looking to put the Rollers 14 in the hole with 49 seconds left in the half. Andre Forsgård kicks it. Good. And it's 14-0 here in Kingston. Now, Lloyd Marshall was the one who reeled that catch in. He spent most of his time here in Kingston as a cornerback alongside Tracy Charger. But the Gators, upon signing Draco Sanchez, or drafting them more specifically in the Season 3 draft, and moving Biff Plunger to cornerback. Of course, they lost Tracy Charger in a trade to the Hellcats. Or to the Janitors, sorry. Lloyd Marshall has been moved to wide receiver number 3, it seems. It's either wide receiver number 3 or 4. Oh my goodness, Sid Manderjunk's pinballing off of a tackle there, and he'll try to turn upfield, but get tackled at the 25. Lloyd Marshall has really yet to make a name for himself as a wide receiver, but that touchdown will do a good job getting the ink wet to start writing a chapter here as a wide receiver. But enough of that. Booker Trayton Jr. in the shotgun, not a lot of pressure, and they'll get it to Miles Gundark on the post route to the 45. As the Gators use their 2nd timeout. I think that was the Gators using it. No, that wouldn't make any sense. It would be the Rollers using it. They used their 1st of 3. Is Booker, what the heck kind of pocket rollout is that? Pump fake, gets it to the corner. Pilote gets it to the 30. Gordy Strump covering Pilote on there. There's a big mismatch. "35 seconds left on the clock. Fresh set of downs at the Gators 30. And there was basically an entire recess of people in front of Booker there as he attempted to throw it to the tight end over the trench, and just it bonked off of somebody incomplete. That's going to be a 2nd and 10. Squarely at the Gators' 30-yard line. Tight flyer and Slick Quiglet in the backfield for this 2 wide receiver set. Not a lot of pressure for the Gators. They'll get it. And then intended for Piloni. He had the separation, but Pit Plunger jumps on it. And that's the second interception. Actually, is that the third? Because I think you had Skip Creaky intercepting the ball earlier. I think it's at least the second interception. And now the Gators will get the ball at their own, believe that's their 8-yard line. And they'll give it to Oscar Dudeman, who'll get 5 yards on the play. And this has turned into a disaster for the Rollers, which is crazy. This first quarter started up as a defensive deadlock, and in this second quarter, the Gators have really dialed in, scored 2 touchdowns, and are now really capitalizing on these turnovers that have been given to them by Booker. And that'll bring us to the end of the half. The Gators swinging, winning 14-0. They're looking for a statement game after being pulverized by the Stoats last week. And the Rollers are now in sort of a desperation mode. They're 0-2 in the season right now. They went to the Normal Bowl last season, and they're now under threat here, starting the season out 0-3. Against a team they had no trouble beating in Season 2. Kyle Borger kicks it deep to an awaiting Dalton Mini-Small. And Mini-Small will return this, but not much farther than the 20 as he's taken down by Kyle Borger. I don't think there's a single kicker in the league with more tackles than Kyle Borger. He is like 9 times faster than every other special teamer that the Rollers have out there. So he's basically there with the first wave of blockers. It's crazy. Play action pass, corner route, and that's nearly intercepted by Carter A. Menbrake. They had Andy Overnight on the streak, but Howard didn't put enough air onto the pass, and that's tipped away by Carter. I'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Trips bunch formation here. Oscar Dudeman, the lone back. So we'll see if the Gators decide to... Yeah, they will draw play it. Oscar Dudeman picking up a big block, but won't get too many yards after that. That'll be about 3 by my admittedly poor vision. But we'll see if the Gators decide to lean heavier on their run game. They're 2 scores up ahead, and it would be very Gators football of them to grind out the clock. They have Aston Sullivan out on this 3rd and 7, so they will go for the pass over the middle, and they damn near throw an interception directly into Jordan Slanerty's hands. It was a Pete Moss post route, but man, there was just there was like no power behind the throw, and the Rollers had all the time in the world to converge on it. It's crazy that that was not an interception, and now Riley 9-Mill is out to punt. Mill kind of shanks it. We'll see where this falls. It's not a bad punt, actually. 9-Mill tried to punt it out of bounds above the head of Sid Manderjunkt. And he'll punt it out of bounds at the Rollers 39. And as a handoff to Kite Flyer, who has nobody in front of him, man. That's a huge run into Gators territory. He's past the 45. And, like, I'm seeing this with the Rollers. Like, if they get good blocks, they are just into the last level of Gators blockers. And it's up to the safeties to stop the run at that point. It's just like a scary prospect. And it's crazy that the Rollers don't have points on the board with how well their blocking has been. For the most part, anyways. Kite Flyer up the middle, off tackle. He's brought down by Aston Often for another big gain of at least 7 yards. He's 8 for 51 so far today, is Kite Flyer. They'll mark it at 7. The Rollers at the Gators' 38-yard line. Kite Flyer the lone back. It's an outside pitch. And Dan Danson can't quite get the block as it's going to have to be David Raines helping him down, but it'll be over for a first down. The Rollers at the 32. Strong I formation for the Rollers. They're going to hand it off to the fullback, and that is smothered by Eddie Chumbo. No gain on the running play with some fullback trickery. That'll bring up second down. Rollers still at the 32. I formation. Squiglet and Kite Flyer in the backfield. Outside pitch. Lots of Rollers in front, but coming around the outside is Draco Sanchez, who stops the run for a loss. He's just got the speed and agility to just like get ahead of the blocks and just stop the run immediately. That'll bring up a third down, and Booker is going to have to throw it. He's in the shotgun with a 4 wide receiver set. Looking for somebody open. He might be... Oh, tries to throw it behind the sticks to Iggy Freeze tag, and that'll bring a fourth down. So that's going to get Kyle Borger out to attempt another long field goal. He's 0 for 1 today, a rare Borger miss, but at 47 yards, this should be still good distance. Kyle Borger is one of the best kickers in the league, or at least he was in Season 2. He's missed 2 field goals so far in the 3 weeks. And this one gets in, so that's more classic Borger that we're used to seeing. And the Rollers put their first points of the game on the board. However, they're still down 11 points. The Gators up 14-3. So it seems that the running game is going great until they get 2 bad runs in a row and have to throw it, and then it's either a bad decision from Booker Trayton Jr. throwing behind the sticks, or Trayton is also thrown 2 interceptions this game. And that's really kept the time of possession in Kingston's court. Good blocks here on special teams. Mini Smalls at the 40. He's at the 50. Kyle Borger is catching up, though. He's going to get him at the 20. And, oh, man, if it wasn't for the kicker having 90 billion speed, that would have been another kick return touchdown for Dalton Mini Small, who has about 4 on his resume so far in his at least 1 completed season. So now the Gators looking to pound it into the end zone with Oscar Dudeman. Bit of trickery here with Nick Hatchback. Almost off tackle. Dudeman, he's having trouble finding his way to the 10-yard line, but he'll meet Bentley Roughhouse there, who takes him down. I was saying earlier, there's pretty much no kickers with more tackles than Kyle Borger. Well, there the Rollers are more than happy. Howard in the shotgun for this red zone play? What are they thinking? Over the middle, they get it first down to Lloyd Marshall at the 5. So that is for a first down. Bit of a bold play call, standing in the shotgun at inside the red zone, especially for the Madden 08 AI, which is, let's face it, the Madden 03 AI. Because I don't think this engine has been freaking changed at all since the early PC builds of this engine. Anyways, off tackle, Dudeman shakes a block, and that is Dudeman's first touchdown of the game. And man, they have really dug a hole for the Rollers. Have Kingston, 2 passing touchdowns, and now Oscar Dudeman with Aiden Mausers leading him into the end zone. He scores his first touchdown. Just a bad tackle, a rare bad tackle there from Reno Pearson. And this Kingston crowd is on their feet, elated to see the performance of the Gators after, again, you know, they came off of a devastating loss to the Stoats. They only scored 6 points. They lost 20-6. Poor score. It kicks the extra points. That's going to be 21-3. What's also crazy is that Booker Trayton Jr., it was the Season 2 MVP. Of course, he won that MVP as a running back, not a quarterback. So I wonder if the Rollers are going to reevaluate their current roster scheme for the run-happy plan. Of course, normally they have Bud Beaglesworth, who's currently a linebacker for this roster adjustment. And number 48 gets it to the 35. That's Emmett Bonkright filling in for the usual Sid Manderjunkt. Drayton Jr., no tight end. He's going to give it to Kite Flyer on a draw play who can't quite get past the line of scrimmage. That's going to be tackled down for no gain. And the Rollers are quickly getting into trouble here in the third quarter. They are running out of time. They are 3 scores behind. More I formation trickery here. Gators shifting their coverage, and man, look at that Matthew Hart Bishop sack. Booker Trayton Jr. a quick step back to try and get a quick throw, but nobody could block Matthew Hart Bishop on that one, and he gets right to the quarterback, and that's going to bring up another third down, an abysmal stat for the Rollers so far. They've only done 1 for 6 this game on third down. They have to make 13 yards up. Throwing it, they get it to August Half-Price. But again, he has to come back for it out of the coverage of the Gators. Classic bend but don't break scheme there. And that's going to bring up a punt from Edward Fongo. Fongo kicks a line drive. This one easily going out of bounds. But I don't think I've seen a single other sport elicit knee-jerk reactions from people more than football. They say one game and they start pretending that the sky is falling and that they need to change everything. But again, it's really hard to feel like that in a league where there's only 10 weeks in the regular season, well, with only 8 teams in it. Outside pitch to Oscar Dudeman. He's going to run into a swarm of Rollers, stopping him for a 1-yard loss. It's like, but when you start a season 0-3, you're almost a third of the way through the season as we end the third quarter here. And the leader of your division is like 2-1 right now. So the Rollers definitely feeling like this is nearly a must-win game. Splitbacks formation here. They'll hand it off to Quentin Screamley. Dudeman getting a block, but Screamley turning upfield a bit too early. He'll only get a yard back. And that'll bring up a third down for the Gators. Third and 10. Howard in a twin tight end with a fullback formation. And he'll just hand it to Aston Sullivan as they continue to grind clock down. Not sure if that's a mistake or not, but I can understand not willing to risk an interception, especially with how interception happy a lot of the quarterbacks, even the best ones in this league, tend to be. But Riley 9-Mill is just going to punt it away. Again, the Gators still 3 scores up. 9-Mill punts it to the left side of the field. Now, this might be a good return from Emmett Bonkright. No, spoke way too soon before a bunch of Gators got loose off their blocks. Eddie Chumbo flattens him at the 35. But I feel like this is where someone like Camilo Pailoni is going to have to shine. Or perhaps Kite Flyer is going to receive more handouts. No, Booker Trayton Jr. back to throw. Gets it to the crossing route of August Half-Price, who fights his way for a big 12-yard gain past the 45. We'll go to replay on that. Watch this. Quick in route. Gets to where no defenders are, and he basically scores a spare against the Gators linebackers. Bowling on through. That'll be a fresh set of downs for the Rollers at their own 48-yard line. And in trouble, throws it to the flat, and Kite Flyer is out of bounds. Great pressure there from the Gators. Booker back to throw, throws it deep for Piloni, and I told you if there's one player to look out for, it's Camilo Piloni. He reels it into the 10-yard line after getting separation on Biff Plunger, and it's Dan Danson and Biff Plunger who have to bring him down at the 10. Camilo Piloni, one of the biggest playmakers on the Rollers. They're going to have to rely on him a lot for sure in this last quarter to even make this a reasonable score. Now Booker, I formation, looking back to throw. Throws it over the middle, tries to get it to Big Miles Gundark, but it's tipped away by Jay McDiggle. The Kingston Gators put a lot of stock in Jay McDiggle, number 52 middle linebacker, but we haven't really said his name at all today. It's mostly been Mark Maskinson and Aston Often doing a lot of the run stopping. Kite Flyer gets on through, shakes a tackle to the 3. He's brought down by Nicholas 5-Iron. The Rollers continuing to chip away yardage with runs. As time continues to dip down, there's 5 minutes left in this first game of tonight's doubleheader. Garrett Rinser behind. He'll take the handoff off tackle, but he'll get it to the 1, and it'll be 4th down. David Rains getting a bit of a dragon screw here. Matthew Art Bishop helping him get there. And the Rollers have to go for it here. There's no way they don't. A pretty standard formation in the red zone. They'll get it to Garrett Ritzer, and nobody's there for the off-tackle run. Touchdown Rollers. Their first touchdown of the game. Garrett Ritzer gets it into the end zone for some much-needed points. That puts the game to a 2-score deficit. We may see the Rollers go for a 2-point conversion, and this will bring it to 10 points. This is huge. Garrett Rinser, outside pitch, and well scouted there from Nicholas 5-Iron, and the game is looking dire for the Rollers. They're now down 12 points. So still a 2-score game. But making a touchdown and a field goal would have been much better for them with only 4 minutes and 24 seconds to go. Of course, both teams still with all 3 timeouts. There haven't been any challenges this game. And so it'll be very much Kingston Gator-like to attempt to grind out the rest of the clock. Dalton Minismall, who threatened to get a kick return touchdown once this game, can't get it past the 25, sorry. Looking at the jersey number, and I'm getting speech jammed. First and 10, 4 minutes and 21 seconds remaining. Dude Man and Screamly in the backfield. It's going to be a Dude Man run up the middle, and he'll drive right over Jacob Wayover. Four-yard run. The Gators at their own 30-yard line. Howard's going to throw it, and he throws an interception to Carter, a men break. Graham Howard has to tackle him down, and the Rollers have made it inside the Gators' 23-yard line on what could be the start of their ultimate comeback. An awful time to go for a throw there. And now Garrett Rinser up off tackle. He's brought down by Jay McDiggle at the 15 after a big 8-yard run. And Jay McDiggle appears to have injured his foot on the play. He is the highest paid member on the Kingston Gators roster. And he's currently limping off of the field. That is terrible news for the Gators. That's a kite flyer in, but Booker will throw. Gators get pressure in, looking for it, and oh, Camilo Piloni bobbled it. He was towering above the 2 Kingston Gators defenders. He did a freaking 360 no-scope pirouette to try and jump it, so foot contusion, oof. However, it is a minor injury. He will return. And Booker will have to throw it. Gets it to the corner. And tipped away. And so the Rollers will continue to go for it on 4th down. Again, they have no choice to. If they were able to get that 2-point conversion earlier, they'd have the luxury of settling for a field goal here, but they've got no choice but to. Honestly, a simple run right up the middle with Kite Flyer led by Quiglet should do the trick. And that's exactly what will happen! No, it's a turnover on downs! They're pixels short! David Rains gets the tackle! I wonder if you want to challenge the ball spot on that. That was pixels away from converting. With how good the Rollers' run blocking has been, especially for those 3-yard style of runs, it's insane that Rains was able to stop that one to such a sharp degree. A handoff to Quentin Screamley doesn't really get anywhere. But a big interception from Carter, a men break, doesn't turn into any points. And yeah, the Gators are going to be waiting as long as possible in each one of these snaps. Screamley up the middle. He gets a much better run this time to the 20-yard line. But it'll bring up a 3rd and kind of close. I don't think that Howard's going to throw it on this one, but man, would you love to see the Gators throw it. We've hit the 2-minute warning. Time is running out for the Rollers. They're down 12 points. 2 touchdowns will lead them ahead of the Gators, but for now, the Gators in control of the game, looking to burn as much clock as possible. Both teams, all 3 timeouts remaining. Howard audibles around some people. And they're going to give it to Dude Man off tackle, but he can't make it up the middle of the field for a 4th down. And of course, this Kingston crowd chanting for them to go for it. As I believe that's the Rollers using their first of 3 timeouts. It's an odd time to use a timeout with 1 minute and 56 remaining, but I guess you got to conserve as much time as humanly possible. And the Gators will play it safe and will punt it away with Riley Dine-Mill. Line drive down the middle of the field. That's Emmett Bonk right, getting immediately dragon screwed down by Gordy Strump. So the Rollers will have 69 yards to go. Booker Trayton Jr. in the shotgun, an iconic formation from seasons past. They'll throw it over the middle to Miles Gundart to the 45. That reception is good. Rollers scrambling to get in position. They only need 2 touchdowns. They have 1 minute and 38 seconds remaining to do it. Booker does some really weird GoldenEye 64 strafing, but he'll get a completion to August Halfprice almost to the 40. More Booker throws. Not a lot of pressure from the Gators. And they throw an interception to Draco Sanchez to the 20. They were going at rapid pace there. They were trying to get it to August Halfprice, who admittedly did have a little bit of separation on Draco Sanchez. But again, it was a bullet pass instead of a lob. And that's going to be easily picked up by the rookie. And now Howard is looking to take up some more time off the clock. That is Booker's 4th interception of the game. Screamley gets the 3-yard run. And the Rollers use their 2nd of 3 timeouts. We might see Bud Beaglesworth return to quarterback next week for the Rollers. As Oscar Dudeman off tackle run, he'll get about 4 yards. But I will give the Rollers credit. They are making the Gators consistently get 3 and outs basically all this 4th quarter. The Gators have only made a single 3rd down this entire game, which is a pretty damning statistic. And they'll probably hand it to Oscar Dudeman here. I don't think they care as long as they have a more than 1 score lead. As they try and soak up as much time as possible, the Rollers not having called a timeout. And there's the handoff, dude man up the middle, and again can't get by anywhere on that, and the Rollers are forced to use their final timeouts. 4th and 3, they'll punt it away. And with no timeouts left and 37 seconds remaining on the clock, I don't see the Rollers coming back from this one. This one kicked inbounds. Fair catch is not waved for. Emmett Bonkright dekes out one tackle. He'll get it past the 35. But this is pretty much just going to have to be Hail Mary attempts from the Rollers. Again, you shouldn't just give up here, even though the game may be lost. Point differential is an important statistic for tiebreakers here in the league. So if the Rollers can keep their loss to, not 12, that would do them well later in the season. They'll throw it to Camilo Pailoni to the 50, but with no timeouts remaining, they have no choice but to scramble quickly back into formation. 17, 16, 15 seconds. Booker will spike the ball. Britton Jr. in the shotgun with split backs, perhaps for some maximum protection pass. I'll get it to Slick Quiglet at the 45. Everyone was running streaks there. I have no idea why Booker threw it to the fullback. 7 seconds left. This will be the final. Fake spike. Looking for someone going. It's going to get it to Camilo Pailoni at the 5, and that will be game. So the Hamilton Rollers are not able to defend their playoff victory win last season, as the Kingston Gators are dominant here, 21-9. I wouldn't even say dominant because they had so many problems in the first quarter establishing the run. And okay, so yeah, 3 interceptions for Booker. Sorry. Again, Booker Trayton Jr. The Rollers had opportunities to get back in this game, but it was just like interceptions at the worst times, and most of it had to do with the throw of choice from Booker. Like, if they were just like even touch passes, he was throwing bullet passes to people who were covered, and that was just easy pickings for the likes of Skip Creaky and Draco Sanchez. And that's really where the Rollers went wrong, and their running game was even like pretty good in the first quarter even. But yeah, Graham Howard with an 86.7, 100 passing yards. We'll go to rushing totals. Yeah, Walter Kiteflyer is your leader there, but Dude Man getting 53 on 17 attempts. 3.1 average is below Dude Man levels, but still not bad. But Ollie Jawova on his 3 handoffs getting 5.3. But yeah, Walter Kiteflyer 4.6 average. And it's just like, all that happened was the Rollers would get down the field, and then they just get a set of downs where they'd get stopped twice, and then Booker would have to throw it, and it would either be a awful throw behind the sticks for not a lot of yards, an interception, or an incompletion. So I think, how do you solve that if you're the Rollers general manager? I genuinely don't know. Pailoni is your most targeted wide receiver of the game with 141 yards. That checks out, with Miles Gundark also getting quite a lot of yards. This is mostly a running game for Kingston. As well, one of those scores for the Gators was helped by a gigantic 80-yard return from Dalton Mini-Small. Man, Kyle Borger, what the heck? Let's see here. Spencer Hammerpants gets the pancake title of the game with 8. Looks like it's mostly Rollers getting pancakes, though, which checks out. Yeah, it's just Harold Van Panel, and then nothing for the Gators after that. Your tackles leader, Reno Pearson, that makes sense. Your sacks leader, Matthew Hart Bishop and Mark Maskinson, both getting 1. Maskinson played his ass off this game. He was, quite frankly, incredible. And your interceptions being Sanchez, Plunger, and Creaky all picking off one interception each, and Carter A. Renbrake getting the only interception that could have turned the game around, but man, I think Rollers fans are going to be pissed at that ref calling that a turnover on downs pixels away from the first down right outside the shadow of the Gators end zone. Like, you gotta feel so bad about that.